So, cold calling, one of the most powerful and effective ways to get more clients for your social media marketing agency. And actually, the way I got my first client for my own agency was with this thing. Picked it up, called a business owner, scheduled a meeting, and closed the client. So today I want to walk you guys through the entire cold calling process, from the second you pick up the phone to the second you call the business, getting a hold of the business owner or the decision maker, and then hopefully scheduling a meeting in which you can close the client. So I've gone ahead and created a keynote that illustrates all of the points that we need to go through. So without further ado, let's jump straight into that. So you should now be looking at the keynote, and as you can see, the cold calling process consists of 6 core points. The first one on here obviously being calling the prospect, and this one is kind of self-explanatory, but obviously you want to find the clients, well, the potential clients number somewhere. So this could probably in most cases be on their website, right? So visit their website, get a hold of the number, pick up your phone, dial the number, and actually call them, right? Now, the first thing that usually happens when you call a potential prospect is that the gatekeeper picks up the phone, and the gatekeeper is usually like an assistant, right? So let's assume that you're calling a dental clinic. And obviously when you call down a dental clinic, you could either be calling down to make a dental appointment, but obviously you're calling to prospect your services. So the assistant picks up the phone, but obviously the assistant is not the key person that you want to be talking to, right? So obviously what you do is you tell the assistant that you do social media marketing and that you would like to speak to someone, either the business owner or the decision maker, right? Someone who is responsible for making decisions in this area. And at this point, unless their boss has specifically told them to ignore calls like this with social media marketing people, like the assistant won't have any choice than to hand you over to either the decision maker or the business owner, because obviously they're not in charge of the business, so it is not their right to deny your right to speak to the business owner. So that is usually the easiest and least complicated way to pass the gatekeeper. Now the next step in the process is talking to the DM, and the DM is obviously the decision maker. And the decision maker could either be the owner of the business, but it could also just be an employee that is hired to be responsible for marketing or stuff in the marketing department, right? And so you get a hold of the DM, and obviously this person is the person that you want to talk business with. So you only told the gatekeeper that you do social media marketing, but when you start talking to the DM, you want to go more in depth with what it is exactly you do and why you believe you can bring value to their business. So once you get a hold of the DM, one of the first things I do is just paying respect to them, right? So briefly saying that I know that you're busy, I'm busy too. I'm only going to take up 2 to 5 minutes of your time, and hopefully we can both get something valuable out of this call. In this way, you're letting them know that you're not going to be taking too much time out of the day, and that they might as well listen to what you have to say, because since you're only going to take 2 to 5 minutes of their time, they might as well listen and see if you can bring some value to them. So this is where you present your services, right? Now please do keep in mind that the purpose of this cold call is not to do a sales pitch. So you're not going to be talking about your retainers, and you're not going to be talking about any prices. The sole purpose of this cold call is to schedule a meeting in the future in which you can actually do a sales pitch, right? But obviously we only told the gatekeeper that we do social media marketing, but now that we're talking to the DM, we actually want to go a bit more in depth with what exactly it is we do, what we offer, and how we can bring value to their business. Now again, we promised that we would only take 2 to 5 minutes of their time, so not too in depth, but obviously we want to explain more of what we do. So what I usually tell them is that we help businesses like theirs to generate more customers and clients through paid social media advertising. So of course at this point they're going to be quite interested, because any business will want more customers and clients in their clinic, right? And honestly, you don't have to say much more than this unless they ask you to, right? So if they ask you to go more in depth, you can actually start explaining about the Facebook pixel and how you can collect data about their customers with the Facebook pixel, and how you can use this data to target the ads even more precisely to generate even more clients for their dental clinic. But of course you want to save most of this pitch for the actual meeting. So again, make this call as short as possible. The last point in the process is scheduling the meeting. Now, as I said, the sole purpose of this whole cold call is to schedule a meeting in the future in which you can then go ahead and present your services more in depth and do a sales pitch and hopefully close the client, right? So what I'll usually do in order to schedule a meeting, if they've actually shown interest in my service in the call, is that I'll give them 2 potential scheduled times that they can choose between, right? And these times will usually be 1 week to 2 weeks after the call. And so by giving them 2 potential times that they can choose between, right? Like specific times on a specific day, obviously on 2 different days. By giving them only 2, by limiting their options to only 2 potential days, you're actually building some authority, because you're saying to them that obviously you're not going to be available all day, all week, but you're a busy man and you run a successful agency, and so you're going to give them 2 potential times to choose between. And so hopefully if you follow the process and you present your services well, you will be able to schedule a meeting at this point, and then hopefully you can actually go ahead and close the client in the meeting. There's not much more for me to say. I hope you got some great value out of this video, and other than that, I'll see you in the next one.